So this is my latest update to replacing Quicken, and I am getting pretty close and running into more non-programming issues. uh, yeah, starting it up, I'm using calculator to stay on top to obscure something. It kind of occurred to me just to make something that obscures it, and voila. This, I think, might be useful when somebody else is making a video. This window actually is part of this, and I'm using it for debugging and overall just about anything useful. Let me, okay. So this is the minimum date Quicken allows. And I was testing all kinds of conversions because I mentioned, I think before, I was using Julian, a particular type of Julian data as well. And right now, most of this stuff is working. You can see that. Let me see if I can. I got it. Okay. I just press Alt-1 and I have a key to go to the first field. 15. And then Control S. And it saved it. So I have a functioning one right now. I need to create a variation of save that actually creates a new record. I gotta deal with sub items, not as far along as I expected. Definitely pretty well ahead of the curve for most people. I ran into this issue with the category, which was a killer. It was using the standard suggested code and it wasn't working. And then it occurred to me, I'm using this SQLite as my database. And I decided to create a routine that recreated a data table by converting the built-in row ID to an int. Something I hadn't dreamed was necessary. And it worked. So that's some of the quirks that you gotta take into account. A lot of it is pretty far along what I expected. There's still some things I need to beef up on. Yeah, I feel like I'm like 90-something% there. And everything is just kind of filling my usual blanks. But I had hoped to get this ready and released for testing, but yeah, stuff like this logo, this has been a problematic thing because first when I tried it here, it wasn't visible because of the way the previous logo was. Now it's visible, and I realized, wow, on this it's not that visible. I'm having issues with the logo, but at this point I'm just gonna settle and figure it out later. If you remember my previous video, I had like a double line per record, and then I chose to go single and just express everything else here. I think it worked better because then I can apply these filter things. And I think it's going to work better with my usual workflow. Yeah. I was going to post the source code on GitHub for other people to review and whatnot, but there's a bit of controversy related to ChatGPT, which, if you haven't heard, you may eventually will. It has to do with a variation called GitHub Copilot, and apparently it's been using the code on GitHub as the source for training, and I'm not quite sure that I want to contribute to that, and because there's a possibility it may put more people out of jobs, in addition to all the layoffs that uh, companies like Google have already engaged in. Yeah, so launching free software has gotten complicated. And, this is another interesting feature about this. Trying to get consistent behavior when I float it versus when it's in a tab. That's probably what all these entries are about. Trying to figure out where I need to hook the code. Mm. That's my status for this week.